And it's some 31 minutes after 8. You're still watching the AM show. Our show is proudly brought to you by Mixi Coffee. Well, a judge at the Supreme Court, Mr. Justice Jones Doche, has described the criminal justice system in the country as a time bomb waiting to explode. He's wondered if the country would be able to withstand a revolt in the prisons that were overpopulated and dehumanizing. It actually still is, really, and advocated change in the criminal justice system. Justice Doche made the suggestion when he chaired a symposium on the criminal justice system of Ghana, organized by Help Law Ghana, which is a private legal aid body with support from the Open Society Initiative of West Africa. He's proposed a resort to non-custodial sentencing by judges, as that had merits in shaming perpetrators of crime and deterring them from committing further crimes. Justice Doche also underscored the need for a sentencing guidance to help judges in their work. Well, we're going to be looking at this, but also I want us to look at our rights as Ghanaians, really, human beings born in Ghana and living in Ghana. On paper, we know that we have a lot of fundamental human rights, but do we really in real life? And if we're not getting it, how can we get it back? So my guest this morning is Dr. Maurice Ampao. He's President, Legal Advocacy Foundation. Good morning to you.
Morning, morning.
I think last week, one of the issues that came out also was the fact that some appeals courts across the country, the regions, except for Accra, had been shut down because of lack of funds. So amongst other things, I also want you to share some thoughts on these for us. But first, what Justice Doche is talking about?
I think one of the things that we have to know is that one of the respected Supreme Court judges in this country so far is Justice Doche. He's one of the judges that I admire so much because, one, he is so knowledgeable and speaks his mind. Straight to the point. If you look at the legislative petition, he's the one who came out with so many of the recommendations legally and then procedure-wise. Now, what he's saying is trying to be practical and real on the ground, that when it comes to the criminal justice system, we've not for some time reviewed the process. We've not for some time look at the system in a way that will help reform those we sentence. And judges at times are so emotional, and their sentencing policy is not consistent. It depends upon you. See somebody going to steal a goat, giving 5 years, and then somebody now takes embezzle maybe 3 billion old Ghana cedis and is given 2 years. So there's inconsistency. So just the judge is looking at the system where it looks as if in this country, when you are poor, you don't have, and you become an accused person. You don't even have what it takes to engage the service of a lawyer. And then it's easily for the states to come hard at you. And then you become very vulnerable. Your case is tried so quickly, and then you are sentenced so quickly. But when you are very affluent, you have the money, you have what it takes to engage the service of a lawyer, you see that the state is very cautious in dealing with you. The state respects your right. The lawyer is able to drag the case, be able to raise technicalities, and at the end of the day, you see that you'll be acquitted and discharged. And this we have been seeing several times. And Justice Doche is saying that it is so good because you have a situation whereby innocent people find themselves in prison.
Who is directly responsible for this, though?
You can't blame one person. You are talking about the system. Let's look at the Attorney General Department. They have limited staff, so they cannot do all the prosecutions. They are well trained, experienced, but they cannot do almost all the prosecutions. So they allow the police, and the police have some deficiency when it comes to prosecution, and when it comes to even trying to gather evidence. Most of the CIDs are not up to the task. Most of them want to do armchair investigations, like they force the accused person to admit guilt, say I'm guilty, and so they do shoddy investigations, and then they push the prosecution to go hard at those who are vulnerable, those who cannot defend themselves. Therefore, what happens is that from the word go, the criminal justice system, the prosecution side, at times they violate the rights of
But isn't the judge supposed to see through all these things? Isn't that the reason The judge is there.
You see, when you have a good judge, a judge who knows what it's all about, the moment an accused person comes before you and is not represented, the judge, you must try and protect the accused person's fundamental human right for fair trial. Make sure that once it's not represented, the prosecution case, you don't just believe, you try to look at whether the case has a merit. You try to interrogate the evidence.
But don't they do that?
Some of them do not. Others do. Some of them do not. I just recently witnessed a case where the judge, the accused person did not have a lawyer, but the judge refused almost all the caution statements and charge statements because they were not signed. The accused person said, I did not write those statements. And then the prosecutor said, you did. Then the accused person, the court asked accused person, are you literate? He said, no. Then they said, where is the jurat? Where is that statement that says that the person, this statement was read in a language that he understood and then he stamped? It was not there. So the judge said that I reject this evidence. You see, this is a judge who knows it, but other judges will not. They will just take everything like that. And then, so we have a lot of people in cells because they did not get good presentation and they are poor. So that is what Judge Doche is talking about.
Don't we have a system where if you don't have a lawyer, the state would get you a lawyer?
We do have. The legal aid is there, but the problem that we have is that the legal aid is under-resourced, and we don't have enough lawyers, and most lawyers don't want to do legal aid cases because they are not lucrative enough, they are time-consuming. So most accused persons cannot, even don't know the existence of legal aid. They are not aware where they are, even in Accra and other regions. And then when you go there, you look as if once it's the state who is sponsoring that lawyer to come and defend you, it's the same state who is prosecuting you. Then you get to know that the legal is not being so much effective. So if you don't get a private, well-committed and dedicated, competent lawyer to defend you, you have a problem when it comes to criminal trial. Look at what is happening to Woyome. See, because he has a lawyer. If you think Woyome is a no person, by this time he's gone. But for how many years now? The case is still dragging.
So is it, I mean, I think it comes back to the issue that I wanted us to look at later on about your rights. You know, does it mean that if you don't have money, you can't get things going properly for you?
It's one, but you see, at times...
Even in the justice system?
Yes, at times it's not all about money. You see, there's something that works for an individual more than money. That is your passion, your commitment, your knowing. The Bible says that for lack of knowledge, my people perish. You see, there's a saying that says, if you look at the Bible talks about, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall what?
Set you free. But you lawyers,
I'm saying that.
Do you tell the truth all the time?
Yes, we do.
I mean, I thought the position is to protect me.
No.
So I tell you the whole truth. But you find a way around the law, and then you defend me.
That's the perception that people have about lawyers. And they say lawyers are liars. And when I was young, they say lawyers will never go to heaven because when we die, our face is upside down. You see, the truth of the matter is that every lawyer takes instructions. You see, something happened, the lawyer is not there. You come in and tell me lies. You come and tell me things that are not true. I do believe in it. The duty of a lawyer is not only to go and tell lies. No. To go and defend the client, and then also to make sure that there is fairness. So lawyers don't go out there. You see, at times, you come to a lawyer and then you have a very bad case. I have done cases where I have a very bad case. When you have a bad case, you don't talk about the law. You know what happened to Sir John? When he had a bad case, did you see Ayiko talking about law? He was talking about, temper, mercy. You know, that's how we do. So when you have a bad case, lawyers are there to ensure that when the case is bad, they go and admit. But then they ask for mitigation. And they try to and at times...
Do you do this always?
Yes, we do. You see, the thing is that we have good lawyers and bad lawyers. We have lawyers who can do anything. In every profession, we have. Every profession has people who are very good. They are competent. They play by the rules. They abide by their ethics. And we have people who are what we call sharp practitioners, who can do everything. So we have sharp practitioners who are judges. We have sharp practitioners who are teachers. Even your profession. Yeah, there are journalists who are going according to the rules. Others too, they are doing what we call blood journalism. So at the end of the day, when you have a lawyer who is worth his salt, when you have a bad case, you tell them you have a bad case. But that doesn't mean that he should abandon you. He can take you to the court and tell the court that, my lord, my client is guilty, but take into consideration certain circumstances, the age, the circumstances under which committed offense. And you have that's what we call mitigation. And by so doing, you see, I always tell people that if You think that lawyers, all that we do is to go and tell lies. Wait until you get a case. You get a case and you realize you need somebody, but at times you'll be innocent in the charges. You don't know anything about it, but you have been found situation. Look, there are so many people who are there in prison today. I can tell you, it is only God who knows that they are innocent. But the circumstantial evidence point to the fact. I just recently did a case where a young guy went to the funeral at Samankasi, and then quickly met this girl. Boys robbed this girl, and then instead of coming home, he decided to spend the night with the girl. And you know what happened? The girl died. They had a round of sex, and then they were there. The girl could not respond in the night. The boy is innocent. But if a woman dies in the same bed with you, what is going to happen? Everybody will say that, oh, he has murdered a woman. So the first thing is that the boy became a suspect. And then through the investigation, the law says don't grant him bail. Now, if nobody goes to the aid of the boy, what is going to happen? He's going to go to prison. So you need a lawyer who has to come in and look at the circumstances and interrogate the evidence and look at the causes, ask for medical evidence, ask for circumstantial evidence. No, a lawyer who can, and then this only person will come out. If lawyers were not there, you have problems.
So with that said, what's the effect? In fact, what do you know about the closure of the appeals courts in the regions?
I think from the report that we're having so far, the judiciary is challenged financially. But one thing I don't like about...
But they don't seem to be accepting that fact.
That is the problem I have with the judicial secretary. I'm so disappointed in him this morning. You see, because you see, we are not saying that the government is treating you badly. No. You see, the public servant is always afraid of this position, afraid to take the government on. The judicial secretary is behaving like once we were in school. You realize that when you are not a dining hall prophet, when they prepare the food, I look to continue. The moment you become a dining hall prophet, you are quiet. You understand authorities. You come and say that, look, the petrol, the food, we have problem with cash. We go and credit it. Because at the end of the day, you'll be served special food. And that's exactly what the judicial secretary is doing. He's comfortable there. The superior courts, from the High Court, Court of Appeal, Superior Court, and the Supreme Court, and those at the top, very, very comfortable. Why? Because the late Chief Justice Akwa did a yeoman job. He was able to confront Kufuor administration, and then the conditions of service changed to the better. If I tell you the salary levels of those at the top. So Jakwa, instead of starting negotiating for those at the bottom, they started from the top. So the top somehow are comfortable. So he can come out to say that everything.
So what's the problem? What's the problem? The
problem is that what the Ghana Bar Association is saying is the reality. You see, we don't need to bring politics into the matter. They are talking about the conditions, whether it started this in this government or the next government. The reality is that the conditions are not good.
So why is the bar speaking for the judges?
Because you see, naturally, by convention and by their practice, judges are voiceless. You know, they don't want to air their grievances. They are essential services. You know, when judges come out to say that we are suffering, it will create an impression in the minds of the public that, look, they cannot even administer justice. So by nature, by their profession, judges don't speak the right.
Yeah, but shouldn't they have, you know, a back doorway where they can talk to governments?
That is where I am blaming the administration. The Chief Justice, who is the head of the judiciary, they have their PR. They should release a statement about the conditions. Look, when you go to the judiciary, as I speak right now, the judicial service staff members, they are dying slowly. Their conditions is so bad. Their salary level is so good.
You know, I heard reports of a judge fetching water, you know, to go and flush the toilets in the courtroom.
I was there, not you heard. I am a direct, I can give direct evidence. If you go to the court right now, as I speak, right now, take your cameras. They're there. There's no water for the judiciary for 3 weeks. So if the Ghana Bar Association have come to talk about the institution that you are heading, instead of coming to say that, yes, I will agree, you rather come and defend and make as if the Ghana Bar Association has an agenda. It's unfair.
But you know, this is sad because this report has gone as far, you know, to the BBC. And so it's everywhere now.
And that is the truth. That is the reality.
And this is basic.
The judicial head, the judicial secretary, the Chief Justice knows that they have challenges. The problem that they have with the Chief Justice, I sympathize. Because she's a woman, apart from she's a woman, you see, her position is not secured enough by the Constitution. So he's subject to a lot of manipulation and attack. You know, she is the Chief Justice who have been attacked, verified in the issue of the justice, he has been called. They said they labeled him as biased, selective. They label him as somebody who is defending the defender of cocaine. They label him when the 2008 the Atamo's time, the government of the day started losing cases all over. They came out to say that, look, cleanse the judiciary or else we'll clean it ourselves. So many ways. So the woman has been intimidated to some level. So for her to come out, it's like you are challenging the executive. And if you look at the constitutional provisions, Article 1466, how the chief justice can be removed from office easily. So she have to pretend as if everything is okay. So indirectly, they are dying slowly. That's the reality on the ground. And we need people to speak. And the Ghana Bar Association, be honest enough, they are not politicians. Look, the reason why the bar came out.
But, you know, it's surprising that, you know how we take what judges say. They sit there and they say things and everybody is, even when you're not in a courtroom, you're being cautious because what you say could be contempt and the judge, you know, could do something to you. So why can't they talk about their own issues?
You see, it is a situation, you know, they are so powerful. When you are too powerful, you don't want to talk too much because you can disrupt a lot of things. They have the final judicial power. So imagine that if they are upset about what is happening in the country, they can do what we call judicial coup. You know what is judicial coup? What they can do is that when they are not happy with the government of the day, they can set an agenda where somebody can file an impeachment process or any process, or even come out to challenge the decision of the government of the day in court, and then they'll grant it. You see, and the difficulty is that as of now, although their constitutional right is being, the judicial constitutional right is being violated, because under Article 179(3) of the Constitution makes it clear that they should be judicially independent. The Chief Justice must present the budget. The government must release money to them. Up to now, the government has not released those monies, and they cannot talk. And the reason is that if they come out, for example, can you imagine the judiciary suing the government? Who is going to sit on the matter? You see the conflict of interest. There will be what we call abuse of natural justice, because they will be judges who are judges on their own cause. They have interest in the matter. So that's why it is somehow dicey. So you need a voice to speak on your behalf, and that voice is the Ghana Bar Association speaking on your behalf. And the judicial secretary, what you can do is to come and stab the bar at the back. Wow. And you know that you are suffering. As we speak right now, your staff members are dying slowly. You are aware that the condition of this is bad. So if somebody is making this is the time for you to back the Ghana Bar Association, confront the executive, so that you get your share of the national cake.
It comes back to, you know, what I really wanted us to talk about today. And I think, you know, we spent a lot of time on this. These are also important issues. But do we have real rights? I mean, I know we have rights on paper, like right to education, to some basic needs, to healthcare, and that kind of. Do we, in reality, really have rights?
Yes, we do have, but it will take people who know, and people who are determined to defend their right and protect it against violation and abuse, that will know that they have rights. It's like Christ. God has given us all the blessings that we need, but you need to tap into it. So people must be aware of their fundamental human right. And then after being aware, it's not enough to be aware, but being aware helps you to bridge the gap between those who are ready and capable to oppress that right. So once you know your right, then quickly you must take steps to defend it. You see?
Have you ever been stopped in traffic, or have you ever been stopped by a police officer, and then when they ask for your driver's license, or they ask for something, you try to tell them, you know, this is the rule, or this is how it's supposed to be, and that kind of thing, and they've told you you're being too known, or shut up when you think you know?
Let me tell you something. You see, when all Ghanaians, the law is not made for lawyers. So we go and specialize in studying it and where to find the law. Lawyers don't know the law. We only know how to find the law. But the law is made for all of us. And under the principles of rule of law, the law must be known. So every Ghanaian must make a conscious effort to know the law. So if you know the law governing the police institutions, there are do's and don'ts. The law governing those who are controlling traffic, there are things they can do and cannot do. So once you know, and then you confront the police with the law, they become, they shake. You see the thing? When, for example, if I sit in my car and the policeman says that, come out, you said, me coming out? Is that part of your duty? Me sitting in the car, ask me the questions. Don't tell me to come out of the car.
Can they sit in your car, though?
Yeah, it's a form of arrest. Once arrest is being taken, they can sit in your car. When they realize that it's in the interest to cause arrest, they can do so. But I'm saying that, you see, I've traveled several times with my bar sticker, and policemen hardly will stop a lawyer. Why? Because they know that the lawyer knows the law. But because the honest citizen...
You could be doing the wrong thing.
Yes, and most lawyers will do wrong things. You see, if you want to know those who violate laws are lawyers, most of them are lawyers. It's like the same way. Pastors, if you want to know who, excuse me, pastors, go and ask pastors' children. They are closer to the church, so they don't come to church early. They take the message that their own father preach lightly, because they are with their father, and at times they see the shortcoming of the father. The father goes to preach and come home and sleep, slap lots of money. So most of the times, those of us who are closer to the law, we take it for granted. But the reality is that when people get to know, the authorities get to know that you know your right, my God, they respect it, they even fear coming closer to you, and they will not attempt to violate it. You see, it's because I know my right. That's why I'm able to sit here to criticize the Chief Justice and the Judicial Secretary. How many people will have that confidence? They are thinking of contempt.
I guess because you know the extent that you can go. Because I am so quick to say that I am distancing myself from the comment that you're making.
God.
You know,
don't distance yourself.
No. I guess because you know the law, you know better than I do.
Let me tell you.
You know how far you can go with it.
I sat on election petition for how many years? How many months? From April to what? August. Did you see anybody citing for contempt? You see, when you see Ghana, you have a problem. When people want to accept that right, then people think that they are too no law. They are going up. Then the judges are not above the law. They are accountable. They are under probability. You see the thing. So the Chief Justice is a public servant, and he is governed by the constitutions and the rules and regulations of this country. It's not above criticism. So
over a certain period, what I would want you to help us with is some of our basic rights. For instance, I want to know the rights that I have as a wife in the marriage, because I know that there are things like that. I want to know the rights that I have, you know, during a divorce or when a policeman stops me. The rights that I have as a child to go to school if my parents cannot afford, you know, who is there to take care of it, you know, those things. But we don't have time today. I think we've absorbed a lot of things for now.
So my advice is everybody should get a copy of a constitution and look at chapter 25. Read all your rights, they are there. All your rights.
The 1992 Constitution, chapter 25.
It talks about the rights, your human rights, economic, political, social, all the rights. And then, so instead of you people buying, I don't want to spoil the papers. Some papers are not, they don't add anything to your, you look at pictures, nude pictures.
As in what, the newspapers?
Yeah, no, newspaper is good, but some of them nude pictures, pornographic pictures. Go and buy family law, like a woman. Buy a family law book. It's very easy. Maybe 10 Ghana, 15 Ghana. Then you know your right as a woman, a wife, a divorcee. All these things are there. And when you begin to educate yourself on your right, then you get to know that you stand tall. A man comes into your life, you know your do's and don'ts, you know how to jointly acquire property, you know what all these things we need to empower the ordinary Ghanaian to be aware of their right.
But thankfully, there are persons like you who can help us also on the show. So we'll be grateful if you accept to come again.
I'm ready to come every Monday and Tuesday. I'm free. That's my free period, Monday and Tuesdays. I can be coming continuously to educate the ordinary Ghanaian on the right.
So we want to do this. Dr. Ampah, thank you so much for being here this morning. I will come back with Roland Walker to wrap the show up for you. Stay with us here on the AM Show.